Hello there, everyone. Social media land. Welcome. Good Sunday. Happy Sunday to you. Welcome to the Beauty After Betrayal show. I am Jenny Rochelle. I'm your host. And I'm a life coach and a spiritual director for women who are recovering from betrayal trauma. And today I want to tell you a story. I mean, in my heart of hearts, I'm a storyteller. I love to tell stories. I have since I was a little girl. But a lot of times, most of the time, I come on here and I talk about stories from my own experience as an ex-partner of a sex addict, about discovery, about trying to figure out what I wanted, whether I was going to stay or go. But today I want to talk about a different story. I want to talk about the day that I got on a plane pre-COVID. This was back in December of 2014. This was a year that I had quit my corporate job to start my coaching business, and had spent the whole year scurrying and working my tail off and trying to be successful. And honestly, like nothing really went that year the way that I wanted it to. And so I decided, oh, hello there, welcome everybody. I decided that I was going to go back and get a corporate job, but the trade-off that I was making for myself, that I was going to go and start this year-long coaching program with this woman that I had met briefly on sort of a group weekend vision quest event. Um, and actually, this painting behind me is the painting that I painted on this 4-day vision quest that I did with this woman. Her name was Christina Rilo. And anyway, that was probably like a year or so before I flew out to spend the day with her. I'd signed up for this year-long coaching program with her. And it started with a day-long intensive. Now, I had met this woman. I barely knew her, but I was like, this is what I want. I want to change my life. I want to rise from the ashes. The program was all about rising and being a phoenix. I was like, that's me. I want to be a phoenix. And so I got on a plane and I flew from Austin, Texas to Santa Monica, California. And I spent the day with her at her house and actually spent the night there, but hung out with her and her husband, and we talked about the Enneagram, and she made me tea in the morning and lemon water, and it was kind of a crazy thing that I did. Or it doesn't seem crazy now because she went on to become such a major influence and such a fierce. She became one of my choir of angels for sure, who helped me get through many, many really dark days. But on that day, by the edge of the ocean, by the edge of the world, there were 3 specific moments that happened that I believe were transformational for me and started to rearrange the molecules and like change the trajectory of my life. And so there were 3 things that unfolded during the course of the day. So at this point in my life, I'd had my first discovery, but I was still, I would say, in deep denial about how bad it was. I still, and denial meaning I really had no idea. I'd had my discovery, he started therapy, I assumed he was going to get better. I went on about my life, started a coaching business, quit my corporate job, wanted to find myself, be the woman I always wanted to be. And so I went out to spend this day with her, and we were pulling cards and we were sitting knee to knee on these cushions in front of the fireplace. It was this very intimate, warm experience. And I remember her stopping for a moment and just sort of looking at me very intently and fiercely. And she really did not know me that well at this time. And she said, Jenny, there's just something that I'm sensing in the field that's not being named. There's something about your marriage and your relationship that I am picking up on that's not being named. And what is it? We need to name it. At that time, I really, even then, did not think for a second that it was the fact that he was a sex addict and was still continuing to lie and deceive me this entire time. And I knew that there were other things. Honestly, what it was, I hate to say this, was that he was not always super kind to my oldest son, who was his stepson. And I still like tolerated like him not always being and treating my oldest son the way that I really thought he should. And so that was the thing that in that moment, like I said, but I'm changing that. I've committed to standing up for him, and I'm doing that now. And that's I'm no longer tolerating that behavior. And so my coach at this time, she's like, well, okay, okay, good. Oh, okay, good. And she kind of went on. We started to go on about the day and continue to talk about things. But like I know looking back now that she was naming the fact that there was still so much deceit, deception, lies, and denial on my part. And I say denial with so much kindness for myself. I was doing the best that I could and like admitting to all that I could possibly tolerate to admit to at that point in my life. But that was moment number one. Moment number two was when we were talking about my first discovery and my decision just to stay, and that I had never really thought about leaving, you know. And she just sort of looked at me kind of like, what? How could you not even think about leaving? And I said to her, well, he's the love of my life. I don't want to leave him. I can't leave him. And in this moment, there was such intense fierceness. This is a very fierce woman, came into her being, and she said, no, you are the love of your life. Like I get chills just now even saying that and remembering that moment. It was like this claiming of something for me on my behalf. And things started to shift inside of me and started to rearrange. And that was the first time I had thought about it that way, that anyone had said that to me. And so, and it's still, like I still wrestled with it, right? I don't know that I fully believed it, but I started to. I started to see that actually, no, I am the love of my life. And the same thing was true for you, sweet girl, wherever you are right now in your relationship, staying and going, you are the love of your life. You are the reason you are here, to be authentic, fully expressed you. That is your great work. Your great work is to be you, fully embodied, in love with yourself, on fire for you, every day, committed to you. Totally. Which leads us to the third moment. So it's sort of the end of this amazing day. We set shit on fire. We pulled cards. We burned candles. We prayed. We meditated. We did all of these amazing mystical things. And at the end of it, we walked to the edge of the ocean. And I stood with my up to my knees in this freezing cold water. Remember, it's like December. And she asked me to make a vow to never settle for less than my heart and soul desires. And I did. And I believe there's something mystical about the edge of the ocean, right? The Pacific Ocean. We think about, I love the movie Shawshank Redemption, and the Pacific Ocean has no memory. And many times in my life, I have gone and bathed and baptized myself in the Pacific Ocean. And it was too cold to go all the way in, but I waited in a little bit, and I stood there and I vowed, I will never settle for anything less than my heart and soul desires. And in that moment, I had no idea what that meant. I really didn't. I thought I did, but everything has shifted and changed so much. And like that day and those 3 moments, I said, like, change the trajectory of my life. It reconciliated everything because I fully said yes to me. And I'm telling you right now, like, that's the great work. What are you here to do? What are you being called to do? Your true calling. It's to be you. It's to know you and love you. And like those things go like this. You can't really love what you don't know. So that's why, like, this year I am dedicated to working one-on-one with as many women out there who are recovering from betrayal trauma, who are done just surviving his sex addiction and are ready to go to thriving, to being the love of your own life, to committing to your heart and soul desires. And it really is just showing up and committing every day to you. You wake up and you say, I'm here for you. I'm here for myself. All right. I think that's it. I'm probably way over in IGTV time anyway, but thank you for tuning in, and thank you, Facebook Land, everybody who's here. It's such a blessing to be here with you every Sunday. I am still I am launching Beauty After Betrayal in January. If you want to get on the list, I already have ladies who are like, me, please, please. And so I'm already doing some pre-sales, or anyway, just DM me if you're interested. And we can get a time on the calendar to talk about it, to talk about you being the love of your life, about finding beauty after betrayal, about making a vow to settle, never settle for anything less than your heart and soul desires. Until next week, love you all.